Welcome everyone to the SERL American Ethanol Series Season 2 Race 14 at Kentucky Speedway, and we have 42 drivers ready to go round and around and around and around on the 1.5 mile D-shaped oval. And there are a couple of challenges that these 42 drivers will have to face, and one of them is the rough surface. The rough surface makes it very hard to drive on, so you're going to have a good handling car in order for you to not only maybe not exactly win, but just finish really, really well. And also, you don't want to be the goer in comers and goers, because I remember last season, and just like what we saw in the Truck Series event, if you saw that, there were quite a bit of comers and goers. So you definitely don't want to be the goer in that. And comers and goers was a big theme all last week. And at the end of the day, in this series at Bullitt/Harleypool, we now have a tie for the points lead. Dale Scott, Dean Orton. These are, to me, the two drivers that I've talked about the most out of any other driver in this series this season. And Dale Scott, he lost a lot because why? He got involved in the big wreck in DNF. Dean Orton escaped the big wreck, and now he is tied for the points lead. I thought at first he would have maybe like a 1 or 2 point advantage, but nope, it's a tie. And in racing, pretty much all ties have to be broken up, especially if it's atop of the points standings. And I'm just going to show where they exactly start. So Dale Scott, it looks like that he actually starts pretty close up to the front. In Dean Orton, he starts maybe in the middle of the field. Yeah, it looks like that is the case. And the winner, and last week's winner, was the 54 of Elgin Mills, who won the race after getting the pole and I believe leading the most laps. Yes, he did. And the only three other leaders that day were Jim Kelly and Riley Smith. And what's kind of interesting is that when you take a look at all three series last week at Bullitt/Harleypool, this series race at that track actually had the least amount of lead changes. So I think that with how many lead changes and passes we saw overall last week, I think that really shows how tough it is to pass in this series. And I don't know why I'm skipping the cars like that when I can just skip ahead. But anyway, that is pretty much all I have to say. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. So other than Dale Scott or Dean Orton, really, no one else is like that close. In fact, the closest placement in points, which is third in points, but Crafton in 62, he's actually more than a full race, and I think it is almost, I think it's 48 points out of the top two. So yeah, and what's kind of interesting is that third place through 10th place is actually separated by only 9 points. So that could be an interesting battle after 27 laps. But anyway, now let's get the cars rolling off. I think someone might had failed to start. Who was it? Okay, never mind. It looks like someone might have just not been able to pull away as fast as these other drivers, but that was particularly very strange. But anyway, we don't have too much time to go over who starts exactly where, other than our front row. So Hurley Haywood grabs his first pole of the season, and I don't remember if we have gone to any mile and a half between today and Atlanta, but he won at Atlanta. Now Atlanta is a different layout, but it's still a mile and a half, and Atlanta is also a rough mile and a half. So maybe Hurley Haywood has learned something from Atlanta that he can take to get a really good finish and maybe even win here at Kentucky. And to the outside of him, Jonas Smith Jr. He's actually in that tight battle for third place in points. He's 6th in points, so maybe he can be the breakthrough in that group. But anyway, here we go. The green flag is out at Kentucky. Right behind Hurley Haywood is Jim Kelly. No, he's not Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly was in that car last season. My bad. Aiden Saunders is in the 9 car. But anyway, here comes. Oh my goodness! We are going 4 wide here for the lead, and Alan Gray, who's starting in the 5th position, now takes the lead. Well, my guess that was a powerhouse move by Alan Gray. He got a really good start. But here comes Kendall Maynor, Johnny Mills, William Bedford. William Bedford was one of 3 cars a season ago that was really good. And oh my goodness, they're behind them here. Justin Delawas are here behind them. Oh no, that's not good. up against the wall, but looks like everyone was actually able to save it. What? Justin Thomas here. He was inside the top 10, but I think you saw that there were a couple of hook-ins right there, and that's what led to a crash. But anyway, now Kendall Minor was actually the driver who led the first lap, so he will get that bonus point and lead all of these caution laps. But anyway, man, that was a pretty wild way to begin our day at Kentucky. But now let's get an instant replay. So while this didn't cause Justin Thomas to spin, it did cause him to put himself in the position where he would eventually spin. So him and Austin Kennedy hooked together, and both of his drivers actually do a good job right here to save it, and also Justin Thomas also had a little bit of help from our shot center here. But when Phil Goldberg hooked Charles Belding, that caused him to go right down, and Austin Kennedy, who then Justin Thomas got collected. I think that's what happened here. But look at all of these drivers here that were able to avoid this, because this could have been really bad. This was right up front in the field, but everyone was able to avoid it. And Justin Thomas, while I don't think he'll be out of the race, he might be a slower car because he did hit the front end of his car into the outside wall pretty decent. But anyway, now let's take you back to the green flag. So here is where everyone will restart. Justin Thomas will be the last driver on the racetrack. No DNFs, no drivers one lap down. And so here is our running order. So Kendall Minor, he led the first lap, and that's why he is the lead right now. Alan Gray made a powerhouse move to almost get the lead. William Bedford, Johnny Mills, Ben Goldberg, that's our top 5. And Hurley Haywood and Jonas Smith Jr. have almost slid all the way back outside the top 10. So will we see the same thing again here on this restart? Let's find out. Here we go. Alan Gray, it looks like he did get maybe a better restart than Kendall Minor, but let's see. I don't know if he can make the high side work though. Like, I think that at Kentucky, in this game, the high side can actually work, but the thing is you have to sort of time it well. Like, I would say that compared to most tracks, the high side could be a little more effective, maybe a little more so in turns 3 and 4. But for the most part, I think it is still mainly the bottom groove that will prevail. But anyway, now Ben Goldberg here, he looks to take second from William Bedford, and now it looks like he will go out to the front. And now he is going to be underneath Kendall Minor. It looks like he might be able to lead a lap maybe. Blake, he's in the 88. He's starting to join the battle as well. This is a driver that I think has actually had a little bit of momentum these past 2 weeks. And right there, you can see that 15 driver of Dale Sky. These past 2 weeks for him have not really exactly been kind. They've been pretty poor finishes, both at Old Spice and Bullet / Harleypool. But it looks like that maybe he'll be able to get his groove back this week. But anyway, now our new leader is Ben Goldberg. But here comes Johnny Mills in the 7. We could possibly be in for lead change after lead change after lead change. But I remember last season, I think last season there were maybe, I think, like 3 or 4 cautions. I think it was 3. But in between those 3 cautions were some long green flag runs. So I think we could be in for the same thing today. Or maybe not. Well, my goodness, that was a little close. But anyway, back up to the front here. Now Johnny Mills has taken the lead, and look at this. Dale Scott is right behind him. If Dale Scott, he is currently up front, and while there's nothing wrong with him being in this position, he could possibly gain or extend his points lead a little bit if you're able to just lead 1 lap. And I'm sure that no matter what he does, whether it is try to pass Johnny Mills or stay right here, he's gonna try his best to maintain it. But like I said, comers and goers. We see Ben Goldberg right now. He's currently in the goers category, along with Kendall Minor and a couple of other drivers. But anyway, now we're here as we now look in the middle of the pack. Ryan Casey in 51. Last season, Riley Houston drove that car here. Oh, he goes around. Hurley Haywood, the pole center here. He also goes around. Another caution. Oh my goodness, here. This is not good. Oh my goodness, here. Huge pileup. Garrett Sinner, Club Crafton, Jim Kelly. Oh my goodness. So just like the last caution, another wreck that was coming off of turn 2, and this time it has resulted in a huge pileup. And Philip Goldberg was one of the drivers that was involved. I saw Hurley Haywood around, Garrett Sidnor, Justin Thomas. It looks like that damage on Justin Thomas might be the end of his day. Jim Kelly, who a season ago went for a wild ride, he's also involved in this crash, and a couple more drivers. But now let's take a look and see what happened coming off of turn number 4. When we were live, we were looking at Ryan Casey, and Hurley Haywood was the driver that was right behind him. And it looks like for the most part, he slowed up the racetrack, but also right here, Ryan Casey did come down maybe just a little bit, and they hooked together here, and Hurley Haywood goes down, and Philip Goldberg, he just has nowhere to go here. And it looks like that it was going to be almost the exact same result as the last crash, but then Hurley Haywood right here, he came right back across the racetrack here, and look at everyone that just piles in. Matt Hoshkus got a piece of it, so did Randy O'Neill, and some of his drivers, such as Club Crafton, kind of came in there at like a full head of speed. Austin Kennedy, Justin Thomas, Garrett Sinner, Lisa Gonzalez, and many more. And now, let's get maybe a couple of different angles or some onboard cameras from the infield. It really goes to show of how the hole could be open and then how quickly the hole can close. For a moment, it looked like Connor Breen might actually get out of this. Braun Ketchuk saw an opening on the bottom, and he went for it, and if he was just a couple more seconds behind this, he would have been collected, most likely. When I looked at the tape, when Cameron Gallatin hit the back of Dean Orton, I really felt like that is what caused everyone else to get involved. Because look at this, he's coming in with a lot of speed, hits the back of Dean Orton, and then it gets hit behind them, and then it takes another hard lick from Club Crafton. And as you can see, Dean Orton's tied in the points lead. It looks like he's not going to be our points leader after today. The only 3 drivers that are out of the race are Cameron Gallatin, Hurley Haywood, and Matt Hoshkus. And Hurley Haywood, the pole center, he's definitely not going to finish anywhere near the front. Matt Hoshkus came into this race 5th in points. That's going to be a loss. And Cameron Gallatin, his mostly struggling season will continue. But one driver that is currently enjoying all of this is Dale Scott. He grabbed the lead from Johnny Mills just before the caution came out, and that's why he's the leader. And we are now back under green. And Dale Scott, he got a really great restart. Now he's just pulling away. Here comes Andrew Gorman in the 22. We really had not really talked or really seen a lot of him today. He's all of a sudden now going to take second away from Johnny Mills. Nick Smith in the 19, a driver that he did win at Mexico City, unless I'm incorrect, but for the most part it's been a pretty miserable season for him. And we have another catcher here, Alan Gray in the 26 goes around. Oh my goodness, we have another one here. Oh my goodness, Jim and Kelly are here. Torn Dieter here. Oh man, a couple more heavy hits. So once again, we are now back under caution. And it looks like that it was possibly, maybe, if I were to give an estimate, maybe, I don't know, 7 to 8 cars involved. This time around, it was a hooking between Alan Gray and Kendall Maynor, and then Charles Blaney had nowhere to go other than to hit Alan Gray. And Tony Valerio, he did an amazing job to avoid this here. And as you can see, drivers on the high side were slowing down, but drivers on the inside here started to speed up. And that's where they got involved here, because once Philip Goldberg came right down in front of Jim Kelly, that's what collected a lot of these other drivers. And Jim Kelly, I think his day might be over, so might Torton Deers. I think especially Philip Goldberg, it looks like his day might be over. Club Crafting gets a piece of it once again. But anyway, now let's go on board some drivers. I have a feeling Jim Kelly thought he had it cleared. I think drivers like Charles Belling, who had nowhere to go, but yet still were able to avoid it, deserve some credit for saving their car, because that is not easy to do. Now we add Jim Kelly and Philip Goldberg to the drivers that are now officially out of the race. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that the DNF list is still this small, despite having so many drivers involved in 3 crashes, I believe. But anyway, Dale Scott got a great restart last time. It looks like that. Well, maybe his restart wasn't as good, but it's still a great restart for him because now look at this. He is just rocketing ahead of the rest of the field. I think Andrew Gorman or our drivers could possibly catch him, but they're going to have to hurry up. They're going to have to do it like right now because we could be in for another caution very soon. And while as of right now, we'll not end the race. If we have another caution after that, or have a caution in the next few laps, that it could end the race like we saw in the truck series. But anyway, so now Johnny Mills has gone second back, and now it looks like that he is possibly chasing down Dale Scott in the 15. And Dale Scott in the 15, despite being the points leader, he has actually been winless all season long. So I think this would be a really good break for him to maybe get his first career win. I don't remember him winning last season. I just can't. So something tells me that he might have won last season, but I can't remember. But anyway, now here comes Johnny Mills in the 7. He's now going to the inside. Will he have some help? Well, it looks like help is not needed. He's now going to go to the lead. And now Daniel Boyles in the 33, who is 9th in points entering this weekend, looks like he might be the next driver to challenge for the lead. He's on the inside. He got a really good run through the straightaway, and now he could be right on the bumper of Johnny Mills in just a few. But anyway, as we go through the field, looks like for the most part, pretty clean racing. I would say, for despite how late in the race it is, and with how similar these cars are to the Hot Wheels Kipsis cars, I think that this is going to be a great omen for what we will see tomorrow night. But anyway, so Dale Scott, he is now falling back just a little bit right here. Well, again, he had to get out of the throttle. But anyway, Johnny Mills here, he continues to lead, and it looks like he has a slight margin between him and Daniel Boyles, and behind Daniel Boyles is Andrew Gorman. Maybe those two could work together and do a little bit of teamwork here. Oh wait, never mind. The caution looks to be out. Is the caution out? Yep, the caution is out here, and it looks like that with how late it is in the race will be over, and unless Johnny Mills does have an issue, he will be the winner of this race. Ben Braley with a lot of damage. Man, the way the smoke is, did he possibly go over the fence? It kind of looks like it. But anyway, now let's take a look and see what happened to Ben Braley and maybe anyone else who did get involved. I think this is the first time ever in the SERL that a caution has happened, and it wasn't because of contact between another driver. So Ben Braley, he was all by himself right here, running pretty good, 15th position right here. But look at this, he has an engine failure here, but he also might have had a tire problem as well because he just went straight into the outside wall, or maybe the oil got onto his tires, and that's why he couldn't control his car anymore. And then he went into the outside wall, and then the caution didn't come out until he stopped. And for Ben Braley, that's a pretty tough and very frustrating way to lose to end your day, or night, should I say. But anyway, now, well, actually, let's go on board Ben Braley. What does an engine failure sound like? Let's go on board Ben Braley. That's it. The race is over. Johnny Mills will be our winner, and this is his first career win ever in this series. And I kind of feel like that if there's one word to describe this, is finally, because I think Johnny Mills has had some good runs before, but something happened at some point in the race that caused him to not be the winner. And he made the move when it counts. And so while he is a winner in this race, I think other than that, this was a big win for Dale Scott in the points, because Dale Scott finished 5th, and then the driver that he came into the race tied with, Dean Orton, he finished 31st. So yeah, Dale Scott once again is going to have a pretty big lead heading off to, I think it is Milwaukee, is the track we head to next week. But anyway, here is the rest of the finishing order, and I guess, yeah, and I guess other than that, there were a couple other drivers that came close to winning. Andrew Roman, he was pretty close. Daniel Voiles came really close to winning his first career race in this season. Uh, and for some reason, I keep on forgetting that he is actually the defending series champion in this season. So sorry, Daniel Voiles, if you're watching that, and you think that you should be and think that you should get they should be more mentioned. So I just want to say that. And, uh, yeah, so that's really all I have to say. So, thank you all for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and bye.